And good evening and welcome to your view with me on Khopotse, JJ Tabane. I hope you had a good weekend. It's been a very heavy news weekend. Of course, we've seen still heavy discussions about the CR17 campaign and who has donated money. Some big names there donating money. But, I was curious to say, but, frankly, the president's a billionaire. He could have signed a check of 400 million if he wanted to. But what's strange is people receiving money from the campaign, and one wonders what they were going to be doing with it. Did they in fact, account for that money once they were given it millions, to go around maybe campaigning? I don't know. We hope as the week progresses, we'll get a little bit of clarity about such monies. But of course, Zamika Masedi joining me at the bottom of the hour to talk about that and many other issues. So do stay tuned for that conversation. On Thursday, when we closed the week here, a former anchor, news anchor at Theta FM, DJ Mabocho Bocho, was here to tell me about the mess and the horror stories of what is going on in the Vaal, in the churches in the Vaal, the rotten stuff that's happening in the church there. And he named some names, telling us about witchcraft. Can you believe that these men of the cloth that you think are prophets and apostles and what, using witchcraft to prophesy, witchcraft to foretell things, etc., etc. Very, very serious allegation. Let's take a listen at what he had to say on Thursday here on the show.
The guy who is actually a source is the one who said, no, look, these guys are practicing witchcraft. And suddenly, when he went on air, suddenly people started to come in. And people started to tell us their stories, their experiences.
So people approached you with the information from particular churches?
From the very same churches, some of them. And people also in the communities. Yes, across, actually. Therefore, that is when this started to be interesting. And again, it was interesting because the very same people, Belong Rohoto, they are practicing witchcraft. Are the very same people who are claiming to be helping people to get out of the witchcraft, so to speak.
Did they mention any particular people? Because this sounds too serious to be just generic. Why did you take a keen interest as a radio station then on this particular story? Who were they talking about?
For example, Ndatemboro was mentioned.
Ndatemboro?
Yes.
Okay.
Bishop Zondo was mentioned. Apostle Mukwena was mentioned. Yes.
Yes, that happened here on the show on Thursday. Naming of names of men of the cloth. Of course, we have a big following out in the Vaal. And we have decided here on Newsroom Africa, we are happy to give them a right of reply. Bishop Mboro, Bishop Zondo, Ndate Simon Mukwena, you have been mentioned in the same sentence as witchcraft. But you are using witchcraft to minister. I don't know how that happens. I must tell you, I was shocked. I've heard many things that are said that are wrong that happens in the church. But witchcraft sounds very, very serious. But of course, we will be more than happy to host you to talk about it. Is it true? Is it not true? Are people just making up stories? Or is it something that we need to worry about? Surely the house of the Lord under attack. If things like the trial of Omotoso down in Port Elizabeth is anything to go by, the house of the Lord under serious attack. Maybe the spiritual warfare that the Bible said we must expect in the last days. But maybe it's just criminality. People who have just decided to see the church as a source of their wealth, ill-gotten wealth. And they have now decided to take it to the higher level to protect their own positions in those churches. But of course, you may know and have information about these things and many other things happening in these churches. Don't be afraid to approach us and tell us. Hashtag your view on 405. You can also tweet us at JJ Tabane, tweet us at Newsroom 405. Now the whole thing about these allegations in the church, particularly issues that relate to sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, have to do with how the church has become an unsafe place, particularly for girl children, for women, and for particularly young women who are growing up in the church, pinning their hopes on some of these crooks, crooked pastors like the Omotosos of this world. And it really put the spotlight on whether or not the church is a safe haven to bring up our young women, to bring up our children. And so tonight, I will be joined by a round table of women of faith who will try to make me understand how we get out of this. What is the role of women in the church? You may remember a couple of months ago, an audio made its way into the public arena, and it was really in the context of the appointment, or at that point, the pending appointment of a woman bishop in the Methodist Church. Patriarchy, in its horrific way, has a way of ensuring that it is two-faced. So in public, men of the cloth, whether be it leaders in the church or people of stature in the church who are men, right, accept women leadership. They accept that we are not in the 20s or 30s anymore. We're not even in the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, we had to march and to get women bishops to be accepted in the Anglican Church, women priests to be accepted in the Anglican Church. I mean, the Anglican Church is seen as one of the most progressive churches. We had people like Bishop Desmond Tutu, leading the charge against apartheid, leading the charge internationally to isolate the apartheid state. But the same church couldn't accept women priests readily. Students had to march, we had to go and shout at bishops, and so on. So the bishops, in public say, no, it's a good thing, and so on. But in private, some of them said the most horrendous things. Reverend Mehana, very respected chaplain of the ANC for many years, as well as a respected cleric in the Methodist Church, say horrendous things about women. Hey, how can we be led by women? These people must be crazy. And of course, he's apologized for it. It's fine. I hope one day he'll come and tell me what exactly was going on. Because he can't tell me that, no, he said it in jest, or it just, it was a slip of a tongue. Can't be. It was a serious rant against women leadership. And actually, he couldn't imagine that on the same sentence as ministry, as anointment, and so on, there could be a woman. It's just a serious chauvinistic thing to say. Chauvinistic. And this is a serious person. I mean, Reverend Mehana is big in the church and in politics. Huge. He's a chaplain, after all, chaplain general of the ruling party. But chauvinistic to the extreme. Unashamedly, when you listen to that clip. Unfortunately, I couldn't get you the clip tonight, but when he does come, we'll remind him of how terribly chauvinistic it all sounded. So the question that we are asking of you is to tell us, do you think that we are just crazy to think that at the end of the day, women priests can be as anointed as male priests in our church? And we will, of course, talk about that a little later on in our round table. But it's crucial. It's quite crucial that we indeed interrogate the issue. And in this Women's Month, we decided, let's talk about the issue of faith and so on. So it's clear to me that if our faith is serious, right, and we are to take it seriously, as serious as the scriptures and so on, then it shouldn't matter whether a person is male or female. It's either you are anointed or you are not. There are the male counterparts who have been priests and apostles and so on for many years, and here are these stories that we are hearing about them anyway. Terrible stories of them abusing women in the church, just stealing resources of the church and so on. So how does it make it better that you male priest? Doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it better at all. And one wants to believe that even if we had women priests and they happen to be crooks, then that's what it would be. And that's how we need to look at the matter. When you're doing something right or wrong, your gender should be irrelevant. As the Bible says, no Jew, no Gentile. I look forward to that show and your views. Of course, if you want to participate in that conversation a little later on, do send us a WhatsApp on your screen, as well as follow us on Twitter, #YourView on 404. As we interrogate the issue of the leadership of women in our church. Stay tuned now. At the bottom of this hour, we talk to Zamikaya Maseti, who's going to help us analyze the news of the day. Stay tuned.